Right now, the MMDA are on Commonwealth. They're writing out a ticket to this vehicle for illegal parking on the sidewalk. If the owner doesn't come out, it could get towed away. This vehicle here is being ticketed for illegal parking. Driver just handed over his license now. The team are now in front of Commonwealth Market. There's a lot of parked vehicles. In fact, many of them are now trying to leave. They did speak to someone, some kind of parking attendant, and according to that person, they're only allowed to park inside, not outside on the road. I was expecting that they might show a mower or something like that with the city, but so far nothing. The team are now collecting the license from each driver. So far no one's come out to give their license and move this pickup truck, so this is another one that might be going on a flatbed. There's a couple more flatbed tow trucks over here getting ready to pick up these private vehicles. Unfortunately no drivers. And another one over here about to go on the flatbed. A lot of drivers did come out, give their license, take a ticket and move on, but unfortunately a lot are being towed away, including this one here which looks abandoned. I'm not sure if it is. That's going on the back of this tow truck. There's another one in the distance, just went up on the flatbed, and this tow truck rolling away with this vehicle. And it's not just private vehicles that got picked up. Of course, with this area cleared, it means that buses and UV could pull over to the side to unload, instead of doing it in the middle of the road and adding to rush hour traffic. The team are now looking at this unattended vehicle. They'll write out the ticket. If the driver comes out in time, it's just a ticket. If they don't come out in time, it will get towed away to clear the road. The driver did come out and hand over her license, so she'll be given the cheaper ticket of illegal parking, 1,000 pesos, compared to unattended, which is 2,000 pesos, plus you might get towed away. This vehicle was ticketed for parking on the sidewalk. You can see the ticket's already under the windscreen wiper. Unattended illegal parking, 2,000 pesos. And in comes the tow truck now to pick the vehicle up and take it away. So that's the time the driver came out, just as the tow truck was pulling up. That's really the way a lot of drivers do it. All of that noise is to try and get the owners of these two vehicles to come out and move them. They are considered as illegally parked on the sidewalk. There is a little bit of space for pedestrians, but it's still not a parking area. The drivers have started to come out now. Based on what they're wearing, it seems like they might be employees. It's very strange that they weren't allowed to park inside. And they're writing out a ticket to this one parked on the sidewalk. So far, I haven't seen many motorcycles impounded today because the drivers came out. Over here, they're issuing tickets to these two motorcycles on the sidewalk. And they just took a picture of this one. They'll be issuing a ticket. Seems like the sidewalks of Commonwealth are shrinking. Just the same thing on EDSA. Every year there's less and less space for pedestrians. Aside from getting a ticket for illegal parking or being towed away, this is what you risk. I'm not sure if you can see people drawing on here. There's a big scratch all the way down the side panel. This guy has scratches all over his vehicle, in fact. It's not just on one side. Two more vehicles here being ticketed. This one, and then in the background, one more. Again, they consider them as illegally parked on the sidewalk. Fortunately, no one came out for the yellow motorcycle, so that one is being taken away by towing and impounding. But you see the driver of the red one, he's able to take his bike with just a ticket. Looks like they're going to lift it. I guess the wheel is locked at the front, the steering. Be gentle. It is impounded, but you still have to be gentle. And this one definitely will not have a registration because there's no way LTO will allow you to do this. They're not going to allow sidecar to be connected to a small scooter like this. And unfortunately, the driver said he doesn't have a license, so that would be for impound. And this tricycle driver was captured on the inner lane. They often stay on the inside to avoid enforcers catching them because it's very hard to get to the inside and apprehend them. So the tricycles are starting to pile up. They do know they're not allowed to be on Commonwealth. You'll see there's a posted speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour. We can actually test that with our pocket radar. This is a very useful device. An ambulance coming now, so that's probably going to be going quite a bit faster. Let's see what speed we can read. Whoa, 71, 72. Obviously there's different rules when it comes to emergency vehicles. Another thing to remember with the speed radar is that the more extreme angle we hit these vehicles, the less accurate result. So the ambulance might have been going faster, but because we hit it side on, we won't necessarily get the exact result, although it can still be pretty close. If you see the three lines like that, it means it considers the vehicles to be too close. That's one of the downsides of the pocket radar, is if the vehicle is too close, it won't give you a reading. And obviously right now we're doing a general overlook at the traffic. We're not targeting one specific vehicle, although we will generally pick up the fastest. 56, that was probably the van that just went past. 50, that was probably the MC. Another tricycle that was apprehended here. As long as they have a valid driver's license, they'll just be given a ticket and allowed to go on their way. And in fact, on that topic, it looks like that is one tricycle to be impounded because the driver wasn't able to show a license. They're just guiding him over to the inside of Commonwealth now. The tricycle is being unloaded now. Unfortunately, the driver couldn't show a license. Unfortunately, these are often the drivers that will have an accident, and then when you ask about insurance or paying for the repairs, they'll just scratch their head. So this tricycle appears to have an improvised engine. Of course, there's no license plate on the back. I would guess they're not able to register this with LTO. They've already started loading some of those tricycles onto a flatbed tow truck. These two jeepneys are now being given tickets for illegal parking. They're actually obstructing the gate of this property, which is the Department of Agricultural Training. They commonly load and unload along the circle, but it's definitely not a terminal area for parking and things like that. So they'll issue the tickets and ask them to move on. Imagine how hard it is being a pedestrian in Metro Manila and then doing it while blind or partially sighted or some kind of... And are now writing out a ticket to this vehicle parked on the sidewalk, and they're also issuing tickets to all of these motorcycles parked on the sidewalk. Again, this is only a short distance from where we saw the sight impaired person. Imagine that, they think they're on a sidewalk, suddenly they're bumping into cars, motorcycles, tricycles. Even things like this, the hanging tarps. The sidewalk clearing team are cutting them down now, but if they don't confiscate them, the owner would just reinstall those as soon as the clearing team leave. And in fact, I can see they're not being confiscated. The owner of the shop is keeping the tarps. So 100% they will be reinstalled in a very short time. The driver of this red car did come out, hand over their license, so they get the cheaper ticket also. And the driver of this car just finished signing the ticket, so that's 1,000 pesos. Illegal parking attended. The cycle's been taken away by the towing crew. Unfortunately, there's no plate number, so they can't write a ticket even if they wanted to. It will be impounded and then the owner can collect it from the impound lots. In fact, never mind, once the driver saw that they were going to impound the bike, that's the time he handed over the license. They were able to issue a ticket, let him keep it. He just needs to move it out of the road. And the towing crew are picking up this one parked on the middle of the road. Actually a very unusual place to park. And that's one more vehicle up on a tow truck.